Hello, I am Blaze, and welcome back to my regrets over ever bringing up that the Secure Electa was good for busting containers open due to its long reach. I never said it was the best at opening containers, I just said it was good at it, because it is. The best weapon for opening containers is a different Syndicate melee weapon. Say hello to the Telos Boltace. To acquire a Telos Boltace yourself, you will need to either achieve the rank of Maxim with the Arbiters of Hexus and then purchase the weapon for 125,000 standing, or head over to Warframe's trading community to buy it from another player. In either case, as usual, you will need to be at Mastery rank 8 and you will need to provide your own catalyst and weapon slot if you want those installed. The trend observed with the other Syndicate melee weapons I've gone over so far stops here. The Telos Boltace still gets an increase in its base attack speed modifier to 1.08, but it doesn't really feature an increased base damage, though the types are very slightly shuffled around. Still having 85 base damage, but with a bit more puncture at 72.3, and a bit less slash at 4.2, and maintaining 8.5 impact damage. It also maintains the base Boltace's 25% status chance, but increases the critical chance to 10% and the damage multiplier to 2%. Which is still a bit weak for melee weapons as a whole, but it will work with Bounty Count and Blood Rush, and it will work very well with the Maiming Strike mod. The reason for this is that on the Tonfa weapons specifically, they have a class-wide trait of insane slide attack damage. The Boltace and Telos Boltace having the highest slide attack damage of any melee weapons in the game at 510, second only to a tie between the Cronin, the earlier Tonfa, and the Dark Split Sword in its dual sword form. The Telos Boltace doesn't have any innate mod slot polarity sadly, but it does come with a V in its stance slot, matching the Gemini Cross Tonfa stance, which is a perfectly reasonable stance, which is just as well as it's really the only Tonfa stance. Now we move along to the added effect of the Telos Boltace as a Syndicate weapon. Its description states it features violent spinning attacks that damage all enemies in range, and has increased mobility when specifically equipped. The second point is fairly straightforward. It will increase bullet jump velocity by 20%, and it will also increase aim glide and wall latch time by 20%. Kind of an innate bullet jump mod without the damage component, so it's actually reasonably useful. The spinning attack part, meanwhile, can be done at any time. Any slide attacks will send out a shockwave that is affected by reach mods up to 24 meters, both horizontally and vertically as a cylindrical hitbox, not spherical, with no upper limit on the number of targets that can be hit. Containers will be hit regardless, but actual enemies require line of sight to be hit. This is what makes the Telos Boltace the best weapon to crack open containers with. Slide into a room and everything blows up, and any Ayatan stars will reveal themselves on the minimap. So this is very nice for farming, although it kinda leaves everything else in the dust. I'm putting the offensive part of this off, can you tell? The slide attack shockwave is separate from the actual weapon contact slide attack. It is affected by the base damage mods like Pressure Point and Spoiled Strike, and is affected by critical mods, hence Maiming Strike being so good on the Telos Boltace specifically, but it will not take the damage from your elemental mods. The shockwave also doesn't seem to benefit from the melee combo multiplier, and it will also not add to your melee combo itself. That will only apply to direct hits. Enemies will take reduced damage when further away from you, but the slide attack shockwave comes along with a guaranteed slash proc, and it can also perform any other status procs as well, so this can get pretty crazy with blast or gas status, which are themselves area of effect status procs, blast knocking down the affected units and everything nearby off their feet, gas being a cloud of toxin damage plus a toxin status proc over a 5-meter area for both of them. Yo dog, I heard you liked AoEs, so I put AoEs in your AoEs. Even crazier is that while channeling mods typically don't do anything to the shockwave, Life Strike will still restore your health while channeling, without draining your energy as long as you only strike enemies with a shockwave and not with the Boltace themselves. So if you just lay down the spin to win, you can be effectively invincible forever. The shockwave is also actually buffed by various Warframe abilities. Rhino's Roar and Chroma's Vex Armor are some of the most obvious, and don't even get me fucking started on Mirage with Hall of Malevolence. Oh, by the way, it works with Saren's Toxic Lash as well to restore your energy when it pops spores, and it will pop spores all over the place. Also, you know that thing you might have heard of with Wukong's Cloudwalker and Slash procs? Well, guess what, with the Telos Boltace's guaranteed Slash procs, it works here too. slide in, cut everything up, go to the clouds, and watch everything take about 2000 damage per tick and still finish your damage. You can do it with Valkyr too with paralysis, although this has its own eccentricities. It doesn't really want to work with prolonged paralysis, and if you use paralysis more than once, it removes the stealth stagger damage buff, so you should only do it exactly once, which is a little odd, but still, look at this! How the hell is this gonna be stopped? You can't stop this! You just slide in and blow up the entire map. The Telos Boltace is like wielding a pair of Boltor Primes that fire Tonkors, that fire clusters of bombard missiles as a melee weapon. They do fucking everything. 24 meter range, guaranteed slash procs, decent shot at other status procs over the area. Use them to strip away an entire high level squad's armor all at once while continuously restoring her health with the infinite life strike. Holy shit. This is not okay. I legitimately feel dirty using these things. And you know what, there's pretty much no reason to use anything other than these things. And when you do, what are you gonna do? Use an attack that isn't the 24 meter death wave attack? The Boltace already had the highest slide attack damage in the game anyway, but hey, let's also give it a shockwave blast so it can cover an entire room while we're at it. It can even destroy bombard missiles with the blast wave. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say the bad words. The Telos Boltace is overpowered. Massively, phenomenally overpowered. Like, I don't think anybody playtested this at all overpowered. Fate was talking to me about how the Galatine Prime was power creep a little while back. Nah man. Telos Boltace. There's your power creep right there. Actually, no, power creep is a bit misleading. There is absolutely no creep on this. It wasn't a gradual process at all. This was basically dropping a Moab on Warframe's already fairly tenuous relationship with a nation of balance. And now both nations think the other one did it, and now the entire region got destabilized and everything's gone to hell. The level of power packed into the Telos Boltace feels deeply irresponsible. No one should have this much power. Man, I can't wait to read fucking comments on this video. I'm so done. So, if you're still watching, thank you for watching my look at the Telos Boltace. If you'd like to see Warframe content that isn't me losing my shit, then please consider giving a click down below to watch my significantly more level-headed looks at the Sancti Magistar, Rack to Dark Dagger, or Secure Electa. And as always, good luck, have fun, and take care. Meanwhile, I'll just go over here and await my possible crucifixion.